Chapter 7. Meet me under the mistletoe. Brian. Could it have been him? I couldn't shake the thought from my mind as I slept, and it still lingered long after I got into the shop this morning. Nah, Brian talked to everyone. The more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense that Brian was secretly in love with me. If Brian liked me, he'd probably tell me, or he'd tell someone else in town, and then I'd hear it through the gossip mill. That made much more sense. Or did it? I flipped the open sign, clicked the lights on the miniature Christmas village, and turned the radio on low. How was it when you start thinking about someone that they consume all functioning neurons in your brain, rendering you completely useless? I didn't even have a crush on Brian, so why was I thinking about him suddenly? Maybe Sabrina got into my head. She was always trying to get me to think from different perspectives. Damn her. I decided that I couldn't think about it anymore. Today, I had poinsettia arrangements prepared for the local nursing home, a wreath for the animal shelter's raffle, and a make boutonnieres for a Christmas Eve wedding. People were counting on me, and my secret admirer had to wait. Brian. Stop it, brain. Focus. In the middle of getting my orders ready, I heard the jingle of the store bells, signaling a customer. I'll be right out, I called from the walk-in fridge. I had just finished the last of the nursing home arrangements. When I saw Mr. Snow, I smiled. Every week for the last 2 months, he had come in to buy something special for his wife. Sometimes it was a house plant, a stuffed animal, or an arrangement. He was by far my favorite customer. He must love his wife so much to get her something thoughtful every week. Sometimes I felt guilty charging him full price, so I made a special discount just for him. Except he doesn't know it. Afternoon, Dana. His rosy cheeks popped into a meek smile. Over the last few weeks, he seemed a bit more serious than his usual self. Sometimes the holiday brings out all sorts of emotions. What can I do for my favorite customer? I leaned across the workbench, curious to hear what he'd like for the missus today. Well, maybe you can help me out with something special. I watched as his thick fingers fumbled in the pocket of his faded camel-colored coat. For most of his life, Mr. Snow worked in the local lumber yard, and his coat was tattered by the beaten by logs. I told you, perfectly imperfect. Come on. When he was done retrieving the item, he gently unfolded a small faded picture. Wordlessly, he flattened the picture of a woman across the table. I rolled up my sleeves of my plaid work shirt and reached down across the table. Who is this? I asked as I studied the image. The smile on his face widened, only subtly, as if concealing his joy. Around here, blue-collared men didn't show any emotion. This is my wife, his eyes twinkled, on our wedding day. We were married on Boxing Day 40 years ago. I didn't know that. I picked up the photograph for a closer look. Well, the church was free, and the decorations were still up from Christmas Mass, he chuckled to himself. No one questioned why there was a manger in our wedding photos. When I squinted, I could make out the manger and the 3 wise men in the background. Beautiful picture. I haven't seen your wife in ages. I set the photo back on the workbench. Neither did I, he muttered under his breath. What's that? I asked. I wasn't sure if I had misheard him. Nothing, he cleared his throat. Anyways, I was wondering if you could help me restore the magic of the day by recreating her wedding bouquet. In her delicate hand, she held a collection of red and white roses, baby's breath, and holly, all wrapped in a thick green bow. The sentimental gesture by Mr. Snow nearly made my eyes water. I'd love to do this for you. Could you have it done by Boxing Day so I could give it to her on her anniversary? He took the photo, folded it back into position, and placed it in the pocket over his heart. I checked the stock and confirmed I could make his Christmas wish come true. He took a minute and looked at me. You're a good egg, Dana. I've always thought so. For a minute, I wasn't sure what he meant by that. Maybe he was lost in the nostalgia of love or Christmas kindness, but I decided not to question it. As we settled the bill, Mr. Snow went to leave the store and turned around. Oh, and before I forget, this was stuck in my mail yesterday. I think it's for you. Mr. Snow made his way back through the storefront to my shop. A rush of cold air entered, sending chills up my spine. Another letter. My fingertips fondled the glue crease of the envelope as I tried to decide if I wanted to open it. My stomach lurched. Did Brian write me another letter? Maybe I should confront him and put an end to this madness once and for all. After Mr. Snow left the store, I tore into the letter. Scraps of festive paper fluttered around me as I read the contents out loud. Dear Dana, do you ever wonder, what if? What if I had taken a chance on love when we were young? X. What? I shook my head. What does this mean? This can't be Brian. We don't have a history. What would there be to wonder with him? It had to be someone I had a misconnection with, and who didn't have some of those. If I'm recalling my past correctly, there's only one person who might have wished he had taken a chance on me when we were younger, and it wasn't Brian. No, it was someone much closer to me, someone who is a commitment phobe. I don't know how my mind wandered there, but somehow it got there. Wyatt wasn't asking Sabrina to marry him. I knew how much it ate at her not having his promise of forever. She wished and hoped year after year that her sweetheart would make an honest woman out of her, only for nothing to happen. The truth was that Sabrina wasn't Wyatt's first love. I was. See, it's a perfectly imperfect rendition of my story. And what's going to come in chapter 8? You're going to have to watch and listen and find out.